All right, so you decided you want to get an electric car. That's great. But then you say, I want to get a sedan. Well, that may not be so great because choices are kind of limited. Most people buying a Sedan electric right now are buying the Model 3 from Tesla. Great car, very popular, one of the most popular EVs in the world right now, but it's partly because it's a sedan and there's not a lot out there. The good news is there are some new ones coming, and Hyundai last year introduced a brand new electric sedan in the Ioniq 6. So in this video, I'm going to talk about why the Hyundai Ioniq 6 could be an excellent alternative if you're looking for a sedan, but you don't want the Model 3. So stick around, it's coming right up. Now, before I go any further, I want to be clear that this isn't a which is better video, nor is it an anti-Model 3 review. It simply is a look at the Ioniq 6 from a vantage point of it being one of the few available BEV sedans on the market right now, and how it matches up very well against this high-volume seller in the Model 3. Some people just don't want to buy a Tesla, and when it comes to looking for, say, a Model Y alternative, there are plenty of choices out there. But category pickings are much slimmer with sedans, and as I personally think the Ioniq 6 is a well-designed battery electric sedan, I felt it was a good idea to point out how they pair up against each other. When viewed from the outside, both vehicles have an exterior design that pushes the edge of what a traditional sedan would look like. As EVs, there are reasons for this, of course, such as a lack of a front grille, given that there isn't a need for one. But aerodynamics are also prioritized in each, with both being among the most aerodynamic vehicles available today. However, the edge goes to the Ioniq 6 with its remarkable 0.21 coefficient of drag compared to the 0.23 for the Model 3. Dimensionally, the Ioniq 6 is bigger, with 5 inches more in overall length and just under 3 inches more in wheelbase. The Ioniq 6 is about 2 inches taller and a little more than 1 inch wider. As a result, the total interior volume for the Ioniq 6 is larger by about 2 cubic feet. But where cargo volumes are concerned, the edge goes to Tesla, as both rear cargo capacity as well as front space is more generous with the Model 3. In terms of power and performance, both vehicles offer rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive, or single-motor and dual-motor options. For the Ioniq 6, the battery remains the same at 77.4 kilowatt-hours regardless of drive system here in Canada. Now, US customers do also have a rear-wheel drive standard range option on the low end of things with a 53 kilowatt-hour battery. The Model 3 offers a 60.5 kilowatt-hour battery for the base model and an 80.94 kilowatt-hour battery for the long range. This variance means that the Model 3 wins out on power with 283 horsepower for the single motor and 384 horsepower for the dual motor, as compared to the Ioniq 6's numbers of 225 and 320 horsepower respectively, and also the 149 horsepower on the standard range. But the Ioniq 6 tops out when it comes to driving range, with estimates running from 435 to 580 kilometers, which is 270 to 360 miles. The standard range US-only model offers 240 miles of range. All this compares to range estimates from 438 to 549 kilometers, or 272 to 341 miles for the Model 3. Both vehicles have instrumentation and controls that have a modern and somewhat minimalist approach, but Tesla takes the minimalism quite a bit further in the Model 3, with virtually all instrumentation concentrated towards the middle and its singular information screen. No instrument cluster or gauges are to be found, as everything is contained on a 15-inch center touchscreen. There are 2 scroll wheels on the left and right side of the steering wheel, which act as alternate controls, and the learning curve is indeed longer than it normally would be expected. The Model 3 would benefit from offering a heads-up display, a feature that is available on the Ioniq 6. Aftermarket units are available for any Model 3 owner wanting a heads-up display, but Tesla should be making this a standard offering given the overall setup. And while the Ioniq 6 interior can also be seen as minimalist by some, it is far more traditional by comparison. The Ioniq 6 features dual 12.4-inch screens side by side, one utilized as a driver information display and the other as a center infotainment and climate screen. Also prominent are tactile button controls for climate, window, and mirror controls, as well as for the stereo. There still are some features that one needs to dig into a submenu for, but if you're someone who is willing to go modern but not overly minimalist, then you'll be drawn to the functionality of the Ioniq 6 over the Model 3. The two models also do well when it comes to technology, with each having a suite of driver safety and enhancement features. Tesla fans will point out to the advantage of FSD for the Model 3, or what Tesla incorrectly calls full self-driving. And while it is an advantage, it's also a very expensive add-on, and it still requires you to pay attention and not have a nap or work on your laptop like some idiots have done. And you probably either know about them or can guess what happened as a result. It's not full autonomous driving, people. Where charging is concerned, Tesla's supercharger network has always been an advantage of being a Tesla owner. But Hyundai has announced its decision to move to the Tesla NACS system, and current CCS-equipped models will be able to use an adapter and plug into the supercharger network soon. Each have above-average charging speeds, especially when it comes to DC fast charging, although each do phrase it somewhat differently. For Tesla, use of their superchargers will get you up to 320 kilometers or almost 200 miles in 15 minutes. The Ioniq 6 is built on Hyundai's eGMP electric vehicle platform with 800-volt charging capacity, and using a 350 kilowatt DC fast charger will get you from 10 to 80% in 18 minutes. Now, as for costs, once again, the two vehicles are indeed comparable, with low and high-end pricing in both Canada and the US being reasonably close to each other. In terms of eligibility for government rebates or tax credits, both the Model 3 and the Ioniq 6 have full eligibility for the Canadian IZEV rebate regardless of trim level. In the US, however, only the Model 3 Performance Edition qualifies for the $7,500 federal tax credit. So while this isn't a completely comprehensive comparison, what can be seen here is that whichever your preference is, these two battery electric sedans are favorably comparable in almost every respect. It really boils down to subjective factors, in my view, as to which will be the right choice for you. But it's good to know that no matter the choice, you're looking at quality options in a very limited field of entrants. Now, we're expecting the arrival of the Volkswagen ID.7 later this year, which will increase the field. And when it does, I'll take a look at how it compares to the other category competitors as well. I hope you enjoyed this look at how the Hyundai Ioniq 6 and the Tesla Model 3 match up well against each other. And if you did, please be sure to hit the like button to indicate so. If you aren't subscribed to the Novak Report on YouTube, now would be a good time. And if you are subscribed, be sure to ring the bell to be notified of every time I upload something new. That's it for now. I'm Eric Novak. Thanks for watching.